Hi there. Well, I just finished my morning coffee, and so I'm still in my pajamas, but I thought I'd go ahead and do this review of hooks and needles. And before I put on my work clothes and go outside to work on the yard. So I just got this box. Just got this box in the mail day before yesterday, and it is a monthly subscription box for you can get a monthly crochet subscription box or a monthly knitting subscription box, or you can combine the two and you can get like both boxes together in one box. And it's a little, if you're into doing both, it's cheaper to just get the package deal, because you still get just as much yarn and all the patterns, but you're paying a little less money to combine the two. And then I went ahead and paid for 3 months, which also reduced that cost by a couple of dollars. So I'm going to give this a 3-month try, see what happens. Now, I've already taken everything out of the box, so I can't show you how it actually came. I think the books were on the bottom. But, here is, see now, if you were going to get just the knitting or just the crochet box, you would get three balls of yarn instead of 6. But because I'm doing the knitting and crocheting, I've got all 6. And then they give you everything that you need to complete the projects in their patterns. So the zipper, and then every month they give you a little gift. And so this month's gift was stitch markers. So pretty little stitch markers. And I saw on another YouTube channel where somebody uses these pretty stitch markers that they get from this company, and they put them on the ends of zippers and as decoration on their projects that they knit, for decoration. So that's always an option. And in the first subscription box, you get this cute little pair of scissors. I would have never spent the extra money for a cute little pair of scissors. I just get my, scissors for cutting yarn in, the cheapo school supply section. Those little scissors, in the school supply section for cutting thread. But it's kind of neat to get, actual something fancy. And then they, I don't think that they send you the needles and hooks every time. But when they switch a size, when you switch sizes, then they're going to send you the new size that you need. And so, this crochet hook, I haven't used it yet. I'll get back to you and let you know how I like it. At this point, just holding on to it, I tend to hold on to it like a pencil. I know a lot of people hold on to it like that. Been a long time though since I've crocheted, so I'm going to have to find my rhythm and how I prefer to hold on to it. But seems like it's made, it's made ergonomically well. My crochet hooks are like rounded all the way back, so I kind of like that. This might be easier on the hand. We'll see. And a double pointed needle and for crochet, knitting in the round for knitting. And then we have our darning needles, 2 packs. So basically everything we need to complete the projects in the book is included. Now, I'm going to try to be careful not to show you the actual patterns, because that would be unkind to give patterns away that people are trying to make a living with their patterns. So we don't want to do that. But for the knitting, here is a picture of this month's projects. And so this is the beginner. If you're really brand new at knitting, this bag is what you'd want to do. And then this is intermediate, and this is advanced. So I'm more of a intermediate, like between beginner and intermediate. So I'm probably going to make that mug cozy. Actually, I'm thinking instead of using it for a mug cozy, I'm thinking I'm going to make a couple of them and actually decorate just my plain long sleeve shirts in the wintertime and just put them on to dress up my cuffs of my long sleeve shirts. It's, you know, the ones that are just a plain, one solid plain color. That might look kind of cute. And when you're wearing it, people might think that it's all part of the shirt, you know. So I don't know. And then if it works out well, I might adjust the size for, what do they call them? Boot toppers. I'll experiment and see. I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to go with that. I don't like this. I just don't like the pattern. Plus, it's advanced. And I think I need to stick with intermediate right now to get my skills up to par with intermediate before I go to advanced. And honestly, that pattern just doesn't motivate me to push myself into advanced right now. So I think I'll stick with intermediate. The bag is nice. It's not me though. And I don't know any of my friends who would want that bag to make as a gift. So, and then another thing to keep in mind is that the 3 pattern choices they give you every month, they don't give you enough yarn usually to complete all 3 projects. It's designed so that it accommodates beginner or intermediate or advanced. There's enough yarn to complete a project at your skill level, but don't expect it to do all 3. It's not designed to do all 3, the plan. Now, it shows you at the beginning of each one, those pictures of the balls of yarn shows you this is beginner. And however many balls are highlighted is the more difficult the pattern is. So when we go back here to that scarf that's more like a handkerchief, scarf kerchief, when we go back to that one, you'll see that that is, you know, I guess it's not the hardest that it could be, but it is 4 out of 5. So it is advanced. And my personal opinion is that if you wear this scarf, if you were to just simply turn it where it's at an angle, you know, more like a handkerchief, you know how you wear your handkerchiefs off to the side, not directly in front, I think it would look cuter versus straight down. Somebody else suggested they were going to make this for their dog because they thought it was just too small. And course, my dog is too small, so it would be too big for my dog. But it is a good idea if you want to make, you know, make a little handkerchief for a big dog as well. And within the pattern, where does it say? I found it before. It tells you how much yarn it takes. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to cover up the pattern because I don't want to break any, violate any proprietary information on the pattern. But this tells you how much the pattern uses. And with this, it says that this pattern takes 40 grams of the ivory, 40 grams of the mustard, 30 grams of the mustard, and 20 grams of the lavender. So, if you take that, you'll notice, you do your math here, there's not going to be anything left over for using the, there's not going to be enough of this left over for, well, there could be, yeah. Let me start over. Okay, so you've got, each one of these is 50 grams. This is 50 grams. So if you use 30 grams for the handkerchief or scarf, whatever that's called, you use 30 grams of the mustard yellow for that, you're still going to have you're going to have enough to do 2 of these, because you've got 10 grams of the mustard yellow, 10 grams of the mustard yellow to make one of these, and then the lavender mist, you're only using 20 grams in this, so and this only takes 10 grams of the lavender also. So you're going to have 10 grams left over of the lavender. And from the other pattern, you're going to have 10 grams left over of this color. So you could actually make a third one of these, because you're going to have 10 grams left of the lavender and 10 grams left of this. You could actually make a third one using the leftover lavender and white. Now, if you were to make this purse, this tote, you're using up every single ball of yarn 100%. 50 grams of the ivory, 50 grams of the mustard, and 50 grams of the lavender. So that's it. You're going to make the tote, no more yarn left. That's not to say you couldn't do these other patterns. You could, if you have other yarn stashed around your house, or go buy more yarn, or you could actually, if you like these colors and this type of yarn, you can actually go back on the Hooks and Needles website and you can order yarn from them. So, but with what they send you in the kit, you're going to know just before you start knitting, make sure that you know how much yarn each one takes, and if you want to do more than one of the projects with the yarn they send, you're going to have to do a little bit of math to figure that out. And again, I'm just going to kind of cover up the pattern instructions to show you how they show you in the little book. Covering up the pattern instructions so I don't violate any, sharing more information than I should. But anyway, they show you pictures of how to do it, and then behind here is the numbered instructions, and the number matches the number in the picture. So you read, you know, number 5, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to picture number 5, and it's like, oh, okay. And sometimes you can find stuff on the internet that shows how to do things. If you have any questions, you go on, they have a Hooks and Needles Facebook page that is fun to go to. They also have contests. You can win more of these by participating in the contests. It's a really fun group, and everybody in the group is very helpful. So if you have any questions, you can always go on there and ask. If you want tips and tricks on how to knit and you're just learning, or even if you've knitted a while and you want to get better, I recommend the YouTube channel called Nimble Needles. If you crochet continental style, meaning your yarn is wrapped around, you know, if your yarn is on your left hand and your needle is in your right hand, that's continental. And so Nimble Needles is your guy. I don't have any recommendations if you hold the needle in this hand, and, you know, you'll have to find your own. YouTube is your friend. So, but Nimble Needles is wonderful. And I've been learning to knit this summer by watching Nimble Needles. Now, the crochet box. See, now so they put them both in one box, okay? But it's actually like 2 boxes in one. This month they sent me these. They did a questionnaire when I signed up saying, do you like bright neon kind of colors? Do you like, you know, browns, tans, neutrals, or, you know, I don't remember what classification this was. I get that a lot of people like that to make sure they get the color classification that gets sent to them. I like all colors, and I don't want to be pigeonholed into more of the dark, you know, the dark colors versus the neons and the browns and tans. I like all of them. I wish that they would just, you know, and I don't know, maybe they will in the future. We'll see. This is only my first box. But based on how they're indicating when they give you that survey, when you sign up for a box, I'm under the impression that they're going to send you colors within that category that you checked. When I tried to check more than one box, it wouldn't let me do it. It's like it's either this, or this. So I think, you know, I just picked the darker colors. I was really waffling back and forth between the tans and the neutrals or whatever, but I ended up picking this classification instead. I wish there would have been an all of the above option, so that one month they'd send me this classification, the next month maybe they'd send me all the really bright ones, and the following month they could send me the tans and neutrals. That would have been perfect for me. So, you know, if anybody from Love Notions is watching this, consider that, okay? I mean, I wouldn't want them combined in the same box in the same month. You know, you want to stick to that particular classification of colors within the same month. But as you get another box, you know, the next classification and the one after that. So that would be a good option for those of us who actually eventually want to get around to doing all of the colors, because we like all of the colors. So, and again, you've got this nice, they give you this nice little crochet book, and this, the very first month, what are our options? Where's the pictures? Oh, they do this a little differently. I have to go to the end of, okay, so here's the first option, and this is beginners for crochet. And I noticed on the Facebook page, a lot of people made comment that that strap is just too narrow. So a lot of people went ahead and did the chain, and then they did, I think, a double crochet to thicken it up a little bit. So they added their own extra stitches, you know, double crochet once or twice just to widen that strap. And I saw pictures of what they did on Facebook. That's the nice thing about being part of the Facebook group, is that you get to see different variations of something that the customers themselves kind of tweak the pattern a little bit. And that's probably what I would do if I were to make this, is make that strap wider. And so that's the beginning crochet. And then here's a crossbody bag. And they sent the zipper for that. I rather like that. I'm definitely going to make that. And I like that. Oh, no, it's not in brown. This picture is in brown. I was going to say I like that it's in brown, but they sent me the blue. So this is what that crossbody bag would look like, which I think is okay, because as I wear it, that actually goes well with my gray hair and pale skin. So it's probably going to look better on me. This color here would probably, yeah, kind of fades me out a little too much, or makes my coloring, it'd be okay, but the blue actually looks better. I'm glad they sent me that blue. So that's the, it's called the boho makeup pouch. No, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong one. That one is called the crossbody bag, urban crossbody bag. And then the advanced one is the boho makeup pouch. And let's see if we can find a picture of it, which is here. And that takes a zipper also. As luck would have it, they sent me 2 zippers. 2 of them are in here. So 1 zipper for the knitting project, 1 zipper for the crocheting project. And again, you see pictures of the different steps along the way. And you know, the book talks about how to read patterns, and then you'll see, I'm covering up instructions, you know, pictures, and then here's the written instructions with the numbers that match the number of the picture, so it works quite well. In the beginning of the book, there's a welcome that's fun to read. Tells you how to read and understand crochet charts. The other one, how to read and understand knit charts, the other book. And then each book has its own little section introducing you to this month's yarn. And so they talk about, you know, like this month's yarn for crochet is 95% merino wool and 5% viscose. And it's from, it's a Portuguese artisan supplier. So, and then the knitting tells you the knitting was merino charm 100% extra fine unshrinkable merino wool. So you're getting you know, it tells you about the wool yarn. Sometimes you're going to get cotton, you know, it just depends on the pattern. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. I learned to crochet when I was 10. I've crocheted a few things over the years. I don't think I ever really advanced too much beyond your basic beginner novice. You know, I've made granny squares. I have, you know, crocheted, double crochet back and forth for baby blankets. Never made anything to wear, never did any of the advanced stitches, you know, just over the years. Of course, you know, I worked 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day. That's the only way I could afford to buy a home and, you know, make ends meet. So this kind of stuff, you know, I didn't have a lot of time for this kind of stuff. So my brain was too fried to think about it. You know, my body was too fried. I just didn't. I spent many decades not doing it. So I'm going to start from the very basics, from the beginner, because I have probably forgotten a lot of things. So I'm going to pretend like I know nothing and start from scratch with crochet. And when it came to knitting, I wanted to learn to knit for over 40 years. Now that I'm retired, I finally have time to learn to knit. And so knitting was on my bucket list. So I got some yarn from the Senior Citizen thrift store. Thrift stores are a great place to go to get brand new yarn. People, you know, they lose interest or whatever. They move, they downsize, and they give all their brand new yarns to the thrift store, or yarns that just a little bit is missing. Maybe it was that last skein of yarn in their pattern, and it only required them to use just a little bit of that skein, and the rest of the skein is, you know, it's almost full. So, and a lot of people just buy yarns for the pattern that they're crocheting or knitting, and then they just donate it to the thrift store. So I recommend you go to thrift stores and check out and see what they have. I've gotten some pretty high quality yarns this summer at the thrift stores. Every week I stop by the thrift store and see what they have. So I'm getting a nice little collection. And starting at the late spring, beginning of summer, I started watching YouTube channels. I watched a variety of YouTube channels. Unfortunately, I don't remember the names of all of them. Some of them have been pretty good, so I feel bad not being able to tell you which ones are good to learn from. Nimble Needles became my favorite. And I did practice a few other YouTube channels for Norwegian knitting, which is still holding it in your left hand, but holding it a little differently. And I practiced back and forth between Norwegian and continental style just to find my grounding on what works best for me. I find that continental style works best for me, and in a future video I'll actually show you how I kind of settle down into my style of knitting. If one style of knitting doesn't work for you, give it a try, and if one style doesn't work, try another channel and see how someone else knits and try their style. At the very beginning, I actually, you know, when you say, oh, I prefer this style, I prefer that style. But if you're brand new, you don't know which one you prefer. So in the beginning, I held the the yarn with my left hand and the knitting needle, and then the other knitting needle with my right hand while I held the yarn. And that's, you know, I did that for a little while. That's continental. And then I did English style for a while, where I held it with the knitting needle and the yarn with my right hand, and just the needle with, and I did it English style. And I think I did like a 4-inch square of knitting to find, you know, to give each style enough chance to win a place in my heart. And so this is doable. the English was doable, but I found that the Continental just worked better for me. So for a while I was watching a lady on YouTube teaching the English style. Wish I could remember her to give her credit. Sorry. But anyway, I knitted English style, and then I knitted Continental style. And I did this deliberately to find which one I prefer. I knitted Continental style with the yarn in my left hand and the knitting needle in both hands. And I just found that one worked best for me. And then after I got pretty good at that, I started checking out Norwegian style, because supposedly Norwegian style is easier ergonomically, like it's supposed to like prevent carpal tunnel. I found that didn't work real well, and I knitted several rolls on my scarf, on my practice scarf. I gave it a really good chance. Then I watched a different YouTube channel showing a slightly different variation of Norwegian knitting from another Norwegian knitter. And so I thought, okay, I'll try this and see if it works better. But it didn't. It's okay. But each one of us, our dexterity works differently. And it might have something to do with how we've been using our muscles all along to do other things we do in our life, and how the muscles are just developed to work, or you might have previous injuries or whatever that limits what you can do. So, there's several different styles, and if one style of knitting doesn't work for you, do another. But one thing that I want to caution you on is just because something hurts your hands doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong way. The guy on Nimble Needles pointed this out. He said, if your hands are hurting and you're brand new at this, it might just be because brand new knitters tend to hang on for dear life to their knitting needles and yarn, which I found that I was doing. So when I first started and I was hanging on for dear life as I was trying to learn to knit, my hands were starting to hurt. And so when you first start, take a break. You might be done for the day. Wait till tomorrow to continue learning. That's really important. So just take your break, rest your muscles, and focus on relaxing your hands. And then once you start to find your grounding on knitting, then you will start to relax also. And once you relax and stop hanging on for dear life, you're going to find that you can knit a long time without it hurting. So don't be discouraged if you knit and it hurts and you think, oh, I can't do this because this is going to hurt me too much to do this. This would not be good for me, based on past injuries and medical problems, whatever. You might think this is not going to work for me. So just keep in mind that if you're brand new, it hurts everyone, and just go, as soon as you start to feel a little sore, put it down and, come back and practice every day and focus on not hanging on for dear life. And after you've given the technique that you're trying to learn a good chance, if it's still not working, go to another YouTube channel and look at how someone else does it. Try their technique until you find the one that works for you. So that's all I have for today. Oh, this ended up being a pretty long video, so good thing that's all I have for today. I'll show my techniques and what works for me, and I'll keep you updated in between doing my yard work, because the sewing, even though this is a sewing channel, sewing just isn't going to happen until the end of summer, this fall, when I'm done doing yard work, because I simply cannot sew and do yard work at the same time. it hurts my back too much. Sewing requires more back muscles than sitting in my easy chair and knitting or crocheting. So knitting and crocheting is what it is right now. Okay, you guys, have a good one.